Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Bomb Draft and Pray podcast. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I have my good friend, Earl Goddard. Good evening, Earl.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very nice. And you yourself? Did you enjoy your
Yeah.
slice of fake water in the marina?
Yes. That was. It's been an interesting GP, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'll be 100% honest. I didn't follow the off-track shenanigans like everyone else did. I had my dose of off-track shenanigans in Kota on the first edition, which apparently happened again.
Yeah, it was just the ultimate. It's full American glitz and glamour, or how they like to do glitz and glamour, just so over the top. And yeah, I can't say I was a fan of it. There's very much the driver announcements and introductions they did. Yeah. I don't want to say anything because it's not going to be nice. I get what they're trying to do with it. I just don't. I'm too old for it. It's all the new Drive to Survive people who've come to F1 will be loving it and think it's great, but just so over the top and fake and not necessary.
Yeah, I didn't actually see it. When I heard everyone talk about it, I really didn't want to go and see it because it was so cringy the first time round that I really didn't need that.
Yeah, I watched it on replay. I didn't watch it live. I literally turned on as they were on the formation lap. I don't need to see all the.
You know what amount of shenanigans I liked? In the end of the race, to go to the podium, they used mini mokes. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I think the shells used to be manufactured here in Portugal, so for those. So that was a nice touch. But even
that is such a, finish the race, take the three drivers across the track, let them walk across the track, then open the track to let the fans run on and create an atmosphere, and then after they finish the podium and interview, then take them in the little cars and drive them back to the paddock. But you end up sitting there watching a guy trying to figure out how to drive a fucking car, and Verstappen sitting there, and they're like, and it's like, don't worry, guys, we'll wait. We're just, it's like,
yeah.
I don't. If it's every year in Miami, this is what you get. Fine. If this is what they're going to start implementing or trying to implement in every weekend as a consistent theme, oh no.
I doubt it just because of one thing. I think all of those shenanigans are the responsibility of the race organizer. So
yes, but also F1, as in the owner group, can start to insist people to make it a requirement.
Let's see how Vegas is, because
I already saw it. So, as I said, I was talking to a friend of mine at Mercedes after this race, and I said the one thing that I'm worried about Vegas is when they did the demo last year and they had the under chassis glow lights. And I was like, yeah. And I said that as soon as I saw that, I went, if they race with those on, that's me in Formula One done. And I mean, I'll be like, nope, I'm done. Not interested. And he was like, yeah, no, they're trying to make him race with it.
No.
They want to run it in the race.
No.
And I was like, fuck it, I'm out.
Oh,
I was like, I understood it as a PR thing, and like Vegas, this come down the strip and everything. It's like apparently they're trying to get him to do it to race with it.
oh, I hope
That's
that
just
happens.
that's just turned F1 into Fast and Furious 11. Right, game over.
Yeah, we actually had, at least in the Portuguese broadcast, we have some good bits of news. The LEDs that they wanted to put on the wheel covers are not really possible, so we won't get those. But underneath the car, that's more than achievable, let's say.
Well, it is. They did it, didn't they? They did it for the demo. So yeah,
yeah. We really, really, really don't want that.
I'm
Really.
only talking about what was that?
On your side, I
Was it?
think someone bumped his mic stand. That
Shouldn't be
was
anyone in here.
springiness of the
Okay.
boom arm, I think.
Alright. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
shenanigans aside, it's the second year that we go to Miami. What do you make of the track?
I don't think it's too bad. It's considering it's a purpose laid track a week before they get there or something. I think it ran pretty well. It wasn't incredibly slippy like you'd expect. I think surface wise, the track's not. It's a sort of a one line for the first part of it, and then you get a couple of corners that you can actually run. Like Magnussen and Charles ran side by side for a couple of corners, and then let's be honest, everything happens down at the end of. Well, it proved to be end of this long straight. If you had a good DRS, or down the front straight in the second DRS. So overtaking wise, it's not the most exciting of tracks, but
Yeah, it's a thing. It's kind of a mix of tracks because the first sector kind of feels like a permanent track with fast corners and flowing corners. Then you have kind of a street circuit part of the track where the walls are very close and you have to just chuck the car in there. And there's actually a chicane that's actually amazing to see them just throw the car in there. The car almost jumps through there. And then you have a long straight, so you have kind of a Baku feel in the back last part of the last sector of the track. It's kind of interesting, but it doesn't generate all that good racing, let's say.
no, let's be honest, we expected it to be a DRS train, and that was it.
It was for some cars, but we'll get there.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, then we went to quali. I mean, practices were a bit all mixed up in terms of on the midfield, let's say. But then we got to quali, and there there was one team that was visibly uh, nowhere, and it was one of the teams that
Our favourite friends.
yeah, our favorite friends at Mecca, McLaren, which we talked, big them up so much last week because they were actually very fast at Baku, were actually nowhere, and it looked like the first part of the first couple of races of the season where they couldn't do anything with cars.
I think they're still trying to finish a lap now, aren't they?
Yeah, so both of them got out in Q1. Yeah, then Tsunoda Stroll was one. Why he couldn't get a good lap in was a bit of a mystery. And then Mr. Logan Sargent. 20th place. So the team that was actually on the back foot, that looked on the two teams. So the two teams that looked very good on Baku, actually AlphaTauri and McLaren, were nowhere this
But,
weekend.
yeah.
Uh, so it was a little bit strange to see that. But then we had another team that was nowhere, at least in qualifying. And I'm of course talking about the Silver Arrows that Lewis couldn't get out of Q2. And Russell got P6 because of what happened on qualifying. So yeah, it was strange weekend, let's say.
They were struggling.
Yeah, massively. Struggling massively.
Yeah, I don't know whether I think their updates obviously not as effective as they thought it would be everywhere. So, but yeah, it's definitely. I think Lewis didn't get the lap together, did he?
No, but the car wasn't really that fast. Even
they would have been 9 and 10 if they did get into Q3.
Yeah,
I mean they would have been in the back of it.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like that. And the team that actually went way forward this weekend was, of course, nowhere last week, which were Alpine. That was a good car this weekend.
Yeah, they seem to, like you said, had the car under them.
Yeah, actually, both cars on Q3.
But they also did get a bollocking, didn't they? After the last events, Mr. Renault had a bit of a moan at them and said they got to pull their fingers out. So nothing's going to help performance like getting your jobs on the line.
Yeah, but the car doesn't go from Q1 to Q3 from one weekend to another just by.
No, but also a highly motivated staff and team can make a difference. But again, their car wasn't really working at Baku when it worked here. McLaren's car worked at Baku, it didn't work here. So there's whatever they're doing with their setups or the way their update program is one favoured this circuit, one favoured Baku.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have to wait at least for the next race. Next race is Imola.
Yeah, and have a bit more of an idea then.
Yeah, where those cars are on the pecking order. So we get to Q3. Max didn't really do a lap for the first attempt. Mr. Valtteri Bottas didn't even go on track. And Sergio Perez put it on provisional pole with Fernando Alonso behind it, then Carlos Sainz, Kevin Magnussen, and then Pierre Gasly, George Russell, and Charles Leclerc, and Esteban Ocon. And then on the second try, the pressing horse of Charles Leclerc had a huge moment on the first sector and actually crashed, caused a red flag.
I say what you want about Charles, but I think there are very few drivers who can commit to a lap the way he commits. He's openly said it himself, is he struggles to find that 1% slower to not go over the edge. He's just, and I mean, through that first sector, left, right, he was like, oh, he's on it. It looked fast. It was like, and then it's like, oh, okay, 1% too much.
Yeah, actually 1%, way too much. And then he crashed, and the red flag came out with like minute and a half.
Yeah. It's like 140, 136 something, and it was like, yeah, that's done.
Yeah, that's done. So that meant that Max couldn't put in a lap. neither did Valtteri Bottas. None of them were able to put on a lap. So the first attempts of qualifying were the laps that really counted for the pecking order. That meant once again we had Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso on first and second, so the first row of the grid. That was a nice, let's say, nice result for the Aston after Stroll couldn't even get the car out of Q1. He couldn't care more polarizing results.
I mean, again, Fernando's in the sweet spot at the minute. He's happy. I mean, he's never not been confident, and he's obviously got a car that is suiting him, and he's able to extract everything from it. Mr. I wouldn't say, but Mr. Consistency has been called at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems like that. He's been able to drive very well. He's gelled very well.
He is the best of the rest, isn't he? Not even the team. He is the best of the rest.
Yeah. There's no argument with that. He only wasn't on the podium in Baku, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Only Baku.
I think so,
so he has 4 podiums so far. So this is the second time that we have exactly this podium. So Bahrain, it was yeah. So it was the same one, and it's the third time that we get basically the same drivers on the podium this year. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Not good for the franchise.
No. So yeah, then we go to the race, and it was basically we didn't have basically any penalties this race, so it all started smoothly with the places of not really started smoothly, at least for a couple of drivers. So Lando Norris and Nick De Vries got into a bit of a problem at the start, where Nick De Vries just crashed into.
It was an iRacing rookie.
Yeah, that was one. I don't know. Nick De Vries.
Yeah. So let's pause on the race for a minute. And I read today somewhere that allegedly Helmut Marko has given him 3 races to sort himself out, or they'll put someone else in the car.
3? I've heard. Yeah, 3 races until Barcelona. Yeah, I've heard that as well.
AKA Ricardo. But then someone else has said it won't be Ricardo. But let's be honest, it'll be Ricardo unless they put Sergio in it, and if he's getting too close to Max. But anyway, what do we think about De Vries? Because he's come into here with a very big resume, a very big name, and a lot of expectation. And he's not done a lot in my eyes to actually go, he's worthy of this accolades he's been given.
Yeah. When he raced last year, it was very fairy tale, let's say, kind of race, because he got points with a Williams in Monza. So I think everyone was very interested in his return to the F1 ladder kind of thing, because he was F2 champion, and then he didn't get an F1 seat, and he went somewhere else, and he did Le Mans Series, and then Formula E, and he was world champion in Formula E. So this was his chance of coming back to the, let's say, to the F1 paddock. And
he was driving for 4 different F1 teams as a reserve driver, and there was a lot about him. And to be honest, I I think we said you expected him to be showing up Sonoda quite a lot, and Yuki's sort of handing him his ass a lot of the time.
Yeah, I actually kind of thought that Nick was getting back to some sort of decency in his driving because he actually out-qualified Yuki. But yeah, from the race then it was yeah.
Do we think
Not.
he will finish a season of F1?
I doubt it. I think if they really give him until Barcelona, it's just because they want to finish the next leg of European races. Because we have 3 European races and then we go to Canada. But I don't know. I'll be completely honest. If it was me, I don't think I would give him that long. Because when you hire he has experience in racing. He's not a rookie by any.
No, exactly.
So yeah, you expect him to actually be decent.
Oh, he's a double world champion.
Does F2 count as a world champion?
I would say it's a world championship, isn't it? F2.
I think you have to. I don't know.
Okay.
I actually don't know.
But then, okay, if you put him in the same bracket of Lando, George, all those boys were F2 champions.
Lando wasn't, but yeah.
Was it?
No, because Lando came
He
from.
should have been.
Yeah, because it was on the same year that George was champion. I think they were fighting for the championship. And Albon as well.
All the recent F2 champions are proving themselves, and essentially off the get-go, they're quick for the car they're in. So yeah, I just expected a lot more with his pedigree and Palmares that he has.
How much do you think that Red Bull is regretting not going for trying to, let's say, get Drugovic?
Yeah, I think Felipe would be a good shout for anyone. I think an awful lot of it stems from Monza last year and jumping into a car on Friday or Saturday for the first time, qualifying and then points. It was a safe, consistent, one could say almost mature drive.
Yeah,
but I think we commented at the time that the Williams is notoriously fast in a straight line. It went well at Spa the race before.
Yeah.
And we sort of assumed pretty much anyone, as long as they just kept it clean, should have been able to get that sort of position with the car. And he did it. Whether there's the pressure now of
Red Bull.
Yeah, you've got to, this was, right guys, go and have fun and just try and finish the race. So there's pressure, but he's not sitting there going, this is my F1 career over if I don't score points in this race. He's like, just don't crash. Just keep it clean, bring it home. If we get points, bonus. So there isn't really pressure, whereas now it's like, right, okay. Go, go, go. You need to push. There's no luxury of just finish the race. That's good enough now. Now it's like you must get points. You're supposed to be, and then I'm sure you've got part of the camp going, you should be beating Yuki. This isn't doing your brand. This isn't doing your side of the garage any good. If you want this drive, you need to be the team leader. You need to be Yuki's underrated or something. Come on, you should be. So I think whether that sort of pressure is now creeped in where that you don't think about till you're suddenly in there and it's like, well, the first person you have to beat your teammate. As long as you're the fastest person in the car. First battle and he's losing that against someone who isn't considered a highly rated driver.
I mean, Yuki came into Formula One as with a reputation of being fast, but not the most reliable driver ever. But he can be fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, for AlphaTauri's drivers, the one driver to be the reliable one being Tsunoda, it says a lot how the Vries championship is going so far. So yeah.
Then the way to look at it is, if you were as ruthless as Dr. Marco is, and you were sat there looking at those results, what would you be thinking? See ya.
Yeah.
As harsh it is, that's the.
Yeah, and we know Red Bull is harsh, but
yeah,
even we have to say that. Yeah,
if we're saying it, what's Marco saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Digress over. Let's move on.
And we like digresses because there's actually not that much to talk about the race.
Yeah, we try a different format to the podcast at this time.
Yeah, let's talk about careers and not about the race, the actual race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first stint for the medium starting drivers was kind of interesting. We had a few fights. Both Perez and Alonso had good starts.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz had a good start. The driver that didn't really have a good start was Magnussen. Actually, let's talk about Haas a little bit because they have been qualifying good with at least one driver, being it Magnussen like this week or Hülkenberg, but they seem to be nowhere in the race. Because they just go backwards.
Yeah, the long run pace of the car's just not there.
Yeah, it's nowhere because Magnussen, I know he started fourth because of the conditions, and we know Kevin is able to do a mega lap like last year in Brazil. Yeah, actually got it on pole, and then of course was nowhere in the race. It was because of the conditions of the track and all that stuff. But yeah, being in qualifying 3 and then not being able to basically race anyone, it's a bit weird, let's say. At least a bit weird. He actually got P10 in the end. Although I think they pitted Yuki and Lance a little bit too late that race. I think for the car, I think they should have pitted a little bit earlier to take advantage of the tire offset at the end of the race because both Yuki and Lance started on the hard tires and Kevin started on the mediums and then it did much earlier for the hards.
Yeah.
So I think it was more of a strategy thing that allowed Kevin to be up there more than his pace, let's say, per se.
Yeah, but then let's not forget, Haas are probably one of the most understaffed teams.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's probably a good shout on strategy in that. Just the other teams you've got 6, 10 plus people working on strategy. Haas probably got half of that, if not maybe less. So
I actually think he was on one of the. Yeah, he was the first driver to pit, like normal pit stop. Logan Sargent, Lando Norris, and Oscar Piastri pitted first, but they had problems in the beginning of the race, so that doesn't count. So Kevin was the first driver to pit from the medium running drivers. So yeah, I don't know. The team that got a fresh start last year, let's say, because they had a good season last year. It seems to be going backwards for them, let's say.
I think they've obviously definitely made a step up. They're not considered, it's not the joke of Haas being at the back anymore.
No.
That seems to be AlphaTauri and
McLaren.
Well, it seems McLaren,
Both
and then
Alphas.
Alpine, and then Alpha and Alpine sort of jumping. Alpine's a bit fluctuating, isn't it? They have a good weekend, they have a bad weekend.
Yeah. So yeah,
I don't think Haas are doing too bad. Obviously, they want to be higher, but I think they're on a plateau at the moment.
Yeah, and it's actually I don't know, this year with the Aston being so much more towards the front, I mean it's going to be a much harder to get points. Actually, this race we didn't have Stroll in there, take that 8th place. But yeah.
I don't think anyone was expecting the Aston to do what it's doing.
Yeah.
They might have expected them to be like top 10, the back half of the top 10, but they never expected, which I'm sure has thrown the rest for a loop quite a bit.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. Let's hope that Haas has a good upgrade package somewhere this season. Because I would like to see them at least challenging Alpine a bit more consistently. Alpine or the best of the rest, let's say. The best of the second rest. Because we have the best of the rest, then the best
the class B ones.
Yeah, let's say that.
Best of the rest too.
Best of the rest too. Because let's face it, Red Bull are the best, and then no one touches them. Basically, they're untouchable now.
Like we said earlier, before starting the podcast, the ultimate F1 cheat code that is Adrian Newey. We all know how good his cars are over the years and how good everything has been, but he's hit some epic sweet spot with these specific regs, and it's just.
And it seems to be that because the previous regulations where he was this successful was kind of the blown exhaust thing, and was all about diffusers as well. So, but he was able to get that nailed in. So yeah, there seems to be something about the underneath of the car that his designs.
We don't want to be conspiracy theorists and say F1 changed the rules to go to more diffuser-centric cars to suit Red Bull to stop the dominance of Mercedes, because that would be a bit conspiracy theorist. But
and let's face it, Mercedes should be able to be up to the task. The fact that they are not up to the task right now, it's just
if they hadn't thrown everything into a concept car and then when it didn't work, the next year do it again, they wouldn't be in this situation.
That was a weird decision. Weird. Decision. The car being so crap last year, and then they go with basically the same philosophy was very weird.
Yeah,
I think even Ferrari did more, at least visible changes than Mercedes, and Ferrari was not that far behind, as far behind as Mercedes.
I think they've obviously gone from a zero pod to a sort of half pod, if you want to call it. It's got a slight resemblance of a side pod on it, but then again, nothing comparable to a normal racing car. But then when you look at the obvious example is Aston, and compared to their previous car, they've got even higher side pods and Red Bull-esque side pods, and it's going fast.
Yeah, and let's
And I
face it,
know,
even Red Bull changed the side pods.
and I know Hamilton's going, oh, you can't just put side pods on it and it'll make it fast because it's not in the ethos and the design of the car. I thought, yes, but it was a good idea, and if it worked, well done. It's not worked. Put it in the museum.
Yeah, but I
follow
don't.
what everyone else is doing.
What I don't get from that statement is that he thinks putting side pods won't do any good, but he's asking for a different driving position or driver position on the car. That seems to be even less doable than just using a normal layout of side pods. I don't know, because if people that are listening are not up to date with that, Mercedes is the car that the driver is more the front axle. So the driver position is more to the front axle than in the other cars. I guess the idea with that is trying to get a better rate for or more room the back of the car to make the diffuser work or the floor of the car work. But it isn't working. And he is saying that it doesn't give him the feel because he's too far forward on the car. We're talking about centimeters probably. It's not a huge amount. But that seems to be even harder because you have to have a entire new monocoque, and
that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen this year because you have to then homologate it, everything, and it's going to be a huge amount of money to redesign that. So that will be for next year if they do it. So just putting side pods and trying to make the airflow around them work seems to be a lot more achievable. And Toto Wolff has said that for Imola, that is next race, they will have a new concept of side pods. How much of that is really a full side pod, or is a side pod 0.6?
Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't know, but something needs to change with that concept. I doubt. I mean, I would be even me. I am not a Mercedes fan, but even I would be kicking everyone on the Mercedes next year if they come up with a similarly concept car next year. They don't redesign everything. I mean, I think I could design a better solution than that, or as helpful to them as that one has been, because let's face it, everything that isn't fighting for wins, that team
exactly.
They have to be fighting for wins, and I think this year the car is far less competitive than last year because Red Bull has taken a huge step forward.
Oh yeah, they're definitely the car's not compatible. So then, what do you make of the rumours of Charles Leclerc having discussions with Mercedes?
I think it's too much of a good decision for his career for it to be true. Because I don't know, he's been a Ferrari guy forever.
Yeah, but it's confirmed that he has been talking to them.
And every driver is talking to everyone. I doubt there is one driver in the grid that.
Yeah, but Mercedes wouldn't be talking to just everyone.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see what Mercedes has to gain with that, to be honest. Do you?
Oh, I don't see why. I'm just relaying the information.
Yeah.
He's been rumoured, and I know someone who's confirmed that he has spoken with them. So you go, is he getting fed up with Ferrari? And as much as he's a Ferrari boy through and through, is the lure of another big check to move across, and also question, what tyres? Question, is that sort of the politics behind Ferrari? Is that maybe slowly getting to him? I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I don't know who would gain more with that. Charles or Ferrari, to be honest. Because I don't really think that the way Charles goes about racing is compatible with Ferrari. I think Carlos is has a way better way of dealing with the team. But that said, I do think that Charles has that a little bit more of an edge in terms of performance. So I don't know. I'm one of those that doesn't see the Ferrari Leclerc marriage working.
No, I can see that they're both too emotional.
Yeah, a bit.
I know he's monegasque, so I don't know what the relevance. But you have the Italian flair, and then he has that same sort of.
Yeah, more than Carlos, and Carlos is Spanish.
Carlos has it, but he has it under control.
Yeah,
you can see he knows when to. He turns the lip. He's square. And then he goes behind the door and lets shit fly. Charles can't do that. He gets out the car and you see the dummy straight away. So,
what was the meme that I shared? I am fast, and then I am stupid again.
yeah.
Yeah, that can't.
I mean,
happen
he's
at this level.
No, he's not on Twitch now. You know what I mean? It's his. And don't get me wrong, he's fast. He's a very good driver. He's just, and I wonder whether the Ferrari pressure, again, is, won a few races for them, everything, the prodigal son, and all of a sudden it's all unraveling through his own doing and through Ferrari's doing. How many more races can they have those sort of issues happen before one turns around to the other and says, I've had enough?
Yeah.
Especially, let's go full devil's advocate here, especially if you've got the likes of Hamilton going, let's just say he goes, I want to go to Ferrari because everyone drives for Ferrari at some point. I'm not going to get a car to win with Mercedes, so do a retirement run there, which wouldn't be unheard of.
Let's then. I know we were talking about the race, but then let's speculate.
Yeah, but the race was boring,
massively.
so
Let's
this is bad.
speculate massively. If Charles goes to Mercedes, who goes to Ferrari?
There you go. Who is there? Who's
Get
unhappy with their current team?
oh
Who's a good friend of?
oh
Yeah,
Mr. Lando. Oh,
the bromance of Sainz and Lando. Carl Lando goes back together. Because let's be honest,
that could
he
actually work.
because he definitely is not. He can't be happy at Mercedes, and I know
McLaren.
that. Sorry, McLaren. Um, and I know Zach's going. He's got no performance clauses. The team's got no performance clauses. So, they've got their contract for the next couple 3 years. I was like, of course they got performance clauses.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Lando's not stupid enough to sign, even though Zach's his manager probably. He's not stupid enough to sign a contract that's got no performance clauses. And the fact that Ricardo's sitting there counting 18 million for having a year off means there will be performance clauses.
Yeah, and let's face it, Lando's father isn't as rich as he is by making bad contract
No,
decisions, so
exactly.
he'll be
They're
helping
not
him
stupid.
that part for
Yeah,
sure.
they're not stupid. So and there's no way any performance clauses have been hit
No.
because they will be a top 10 car and ideally capable of podiums, and that car is nowhere near it.
Yeah.
It's what I was thinking of through the races. Who's unhappy, and who would be looking to get out?
Yeah, because actually Hamilton contract ends this year, right?
Correct. And
Hmm.
yes, he's going. I feel I can race for another 30 years.
Yeah.
Look at Alonso's 41 and he's racing. Is he gonna stay with Mercedes? Does he feel let down because George is now not getting preferential treatment, but George is a teammate that is really pushing him, and the team and generally the world likes Georgie boy.
Yeah.
Is he going? Like they said, is he going to? Where's he going to go? If he doesn't go here, if he doesn't stay at Mercedes, where do you go? Ferrari. Just because all the greats at some point have tried to or have gone to Ferrari.
Yeah, but that said, if you really think about it, like with your head, if you don't just follow the Ferrari dream, I mean, Mercedes has been historically very good for their former drivers. So I do think that he has much to gain with retiring with from Mercedes and not going
Yeah,
anywhere
is
else.
to the brand ambassador, for want of a better phrase, role.
Yeah. I don't know, and he has interests in other walks of life. He is one of the producers of the
He's a
coming.
DJ.
He's a DJ. He has interest. He's the producer on the um,
New
upcoming
F1 movie.
F1 movie that they are actually running a Formula 2 car, I think.
Yeah, it's apparently it's a modified F2 car that they're
So
going to then change in post production to look like a current F1 car.
yeah, and they're going to run from Silverstone onwards when there's no action on track.
Yeah, I know. So as we know, I'm a member of a certain club, and we got an email through from the production company for extras, looking for extras for the weekend of the British Grand Prix for motorsport action scenes for an upcoming feature film. I was like, which at that point I was like, oh, they weren't joking, saying Brad Pitt's going to drive a fucking F1 car. Oh.
Is Brad Pitt the?
Yeah, he's
Uh,
a famous driver, so it's going to apparently be the most realistic and lifelike F1 film ever with a 51-year-old F1 driver.
that doesn't make much sense.
But again, this goes back to neon lights. It's just it's a joke.
Yeah, that seems like a joke. I didn't know that. I read somewhere that he was going to drive the car, but I thought, oh, he's driving the car just for fun because he's.
No, he's currently doing. I think he's done over 1,000K in an F2 car.
Oh. Let's put Tom Cruise in it.
No, but he's also old.
I know. I was joking.
I think the best one of all of this, though, is the tweet from Colton Herter going, Brad Pitt got a super license before me. That's hard. I know.
Yeah,
we shouldn't be joking about it. It shouldn't be something that we can joke about.
I mean, it's not like you don't have good actors and young actors. You have your own Tom Holland. He would be fucking awesome for. Sorry for the swearing. For a young person that kind of looks like an F1.
There's plenty of guys out there that could do it.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I don't know. I think the best Formula One film is still going to be Rush. It was Rush, right? The one about Niki Lauda and Hunt. That was awesome. That one was awesome.
What you didn't like, was it the one with Stallone? Was it Driven?
Oh, I've seen that like 10 times already. I love the coin throwing and being able to get them. I love that movie. It's so bad that I love it. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Oh yeah, and driving on the streets with a cart and yeah, it was awesome.
The favorite one that gets me every time, it never fails to make me smile, is when they're in a race and they look across at each other and they go, and then they have like the mentor's words in their head and they're like, oh, I must do this, and then they just push the throttle down more. You're in top gear. You've been racing next to each other down the straight for 3 miles, and you're in top gear, and you suddenly go, "Oh, I'll just push the rest."
Don't. I could actually do something. And what I also like is the camera that. Sorry for the podcast listeners. If you go and watch YouTube, you can actually see. And then you have the camera, and they show the hands, and on a fast corner, you see them doing this. All of a sudden, in a 200 kilometer an hour corner, and they do 180.
And I mean, and yes, it's because we know about this and for the spectacle, it is. I get it, but it never fails to make me smile. It's no different Fast and Furious when they change gear for the 8th time in a quarter-mile drag race. You're like, come on.
Yeah, let's reserve judgment for when the movie comes out. We don't know.
I mean, it will. Let's be honest. It's Jerry Bruckheimer, and it's using all the technology from Top Gun Maverick and the cameras they used in the planes to get the actors in the real planes flying them.
I
So
haven't watched. I haven't seen that
it's
movie
good.
yet.
And
I've
if you
heard that
look at
it's
it,
good.
if you just purely from the camera side of it, of in the planes, so yeah, I think it will be better than your Stallone's driven in that, and I think it will be better cinematically than Rush. Obviously, the only problem like Rush is when it was filmed, there's obviously limitations on technology, but the storyline is the difference. What storyline are they going to come up with? Because let's be honest, there's going to be an evolution of Days of Thunder and stuff like that. It's going to be a very gone over. And don't get me wrong, I love that film. There is nothing wrong. There's nothing stock about a stock car. But I can already see it in my head. It's going to be the same thing because it's a retired racing driver who comes back to show someone how it's done, sort of thing. So,
I mean, I just want a shake and bake it kind of F1 movie. I need no. I don't need any Brad Pitt. My F1 movies. I need William Ferrell
a Frenchman.
and a Frenchman. Oh yeah. The villain,
Yes,
the Frenchman villain. Ocon could play that role.
Jean Gillard.
So let's get back on topic. Let's get back on topic. I mean, there was not much to talk about race-wise. Max did an amazing first stint with the Hearts and seemed that he was going to go to the end. It seemed like he could go to the end.
I think he could have gone very far on them.
Yeah. So he pitted with like not even 10 laps to go. It was one of the last.
I think he didn't have like 12, 15, something like that.
He pitted on lap 45, so 12 laps to the end.
Yeah.
He was the last driver to pit. So yeah, it was his race to win. He had a massive pace advantage,
and he had quite a mature drive in terms of he didn't try to do it all in the first lap. He just went right and sat there and just slowly drove his way up.
Yeah,
didn't destroy his tires in the first part of the stint. Managed to go very super long on them compared to everyone else. And as soon as you saw Sergio pit and you knew he had about 6 lap advantage, tyre advantage, it was like, and on the better tyre, it's game over.
Yeah, massive. So Sergio, Red Bull tells us that the first stint was the one that screwed his race. I don't know. The truth is that he wasn't able to get all of that far away from Alonso on the first stint. It was like what 4 seconds when Alonso pitted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part is true. Then, so that was our podium: Max, then Sergio, then Fernando. Then George had actually a good first to mid part of the race. Was actually able to get close-ish to Alonso, but then Alonso just went away and was able to just.
He was just cruising.
The driver that started very good the race and he seemed to be on up at least fighting for the podium, but then had a bit of a moment while on going for his first pit stop, or his only pit stop was Sainz. He
got a penalty,
got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and then his pace just went off. He just didn't do anything else in the race, so he lost interest in the race. Then Lewis had, it was painful the first part. He started on the hards as well, Lewis. So he was able to come back through the field, and I had a very good race. At least if you compare with Charles, that started way more in front and way forward than Lewis, and Charles wasn't able. Lewis passed Charles in the last part of the race, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, good race for Lewis. Not very good race from Leclerc. He seemed to be almost. You could almost if I didn't know that how good he was, it's almost seemed like he was shaken by the crash on the previous day, and had no confidence on the car. But that
again has he been told, whatever you do, finish this race?
or that.
All of a sudden, you're driving within yourself to the point of being super slow.
Yeah. So yeah, he
Let's be
had
honest.
no pace.
Mercedes have been normally do have a better race pace than they do quali pace this year, so that's about right for them to run better. Ferrari have been better, normally better quali pace, and then, or with Charles anyway, he's normally lightning in quali and then a bit off in the race. So it's just, I suppose we're just so used to saying Lewis had a good race where he finished. It wasn't, not used to saying that, are you?
Yeah.
You expect them to be top 4, top 5, and that's considered a good race. Whereas now,
Yeah. It's depressing. Lewis Hamilton, to be honest, or a Lewis Hamilton fan.
yeah. But then, to be fair, that's where he dished out to everyone for about 5-6 years.
Yes.
So swings in roundabouts.
Yep. And behind the Ferrari were both Alpines, so Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. So yeah, that was our race. Was, let's say, a boring race. Let's not.
And the one we haven't spoken about with the driver intros and all that they were doing, which were performed by Mr. LL Cool J, who referred to Charles Chuck Leclerc. So they've been calling him Chuck all weekend. And even Max had a go. Someone turned, I think in a post-race interview, they said, out of all the celebrities that were at Miami, who was the one that you never thought you'd get to meet? And he said, Chuck Leclerc.
I mean, we had some good moments this weekend on.
I mean, it's been meme
humor.
city.
Yeah, because did you see there are actually 2 more videos where they are about to go to that ceremony, that start ceremony thing, and Charles, there was Charles, there was Max, Lanzo, and I think there was someone else, and then I think it was Lando looked at Charles like trunks. I don't know what was, and they had a weird pattern, some Hawaiian thing, and Lando pointed at the trunks, and Charles said, "Yeah, you like them?" And Lando just replied, "Yeah, you made them yourself." I mean, Max, I think, almost started laughing at that.
Yeah, it's a sad state of things where the memes from the paddock are more interesting than the race.
Oh, and drivers making bets. Like, I think Max and Fernando had a bet on which lap Max would pass him.
Yeah.
That's just. I mean, I cannot even comment on that. I laughed very hard, but it's.
Yeah. It doesn't bode well for this year, like you said earlier.
Oh no. Red Bull has this one on.
Oh yeah, the only thing that's going to cause them issues now is
Drivers fight.
if Sergio's legit, and judging the way he drove at Baku, he's there or thereabouts, and a few more incidences for Max and Sergio picking up the wins. There will be a point where Red Bull will go, because there's the rumours already. Then the Max camp that they want Sergio replaced because they're not happy with the fact of Perez's crew are going, yay, the team have got a 1-2. And they're happy for 1-2. Whereas the other side's going, yeah, but the wrong car's got the 1-2. And
yeah, but that said, from what we've seen this weekend, I do think that Max still has Perez.
Yeah, a couple engine failures.
I mean,
a few issues.
He had an issue this weekend and he won very easily.
Okay, DNFs. DNFs or mechanical failures. And all it needs is a couple of those to kick in, and there can't be this, well, I'm the clear team leader. And they're like, yeah, but Sergio's only at 1 point behind you. Or he's 1 point ahead of you. Do you know what I mean? That's where the friction's going to come in.
And then when Daniel is going to be on that second car.
Exactly. That's why I wonder, depending what happens with De Vries, do they either bin Sergio or do they replace him into another team in the tried and tested fashion that they do?
The only thing that tells me that they won't do that is that would not make Max his image that good, because it's like it's like Red Bull is preventing him from having a championship fight. So just giving him championship, and I don't really.
I don't think he'll care.
I don't think that he'll care. It's not that he won't care. He will care, but he will not admit it. Let's put it like that. You'll never hear from him that the team gave him the championship or that he's bothered about it. Never. Let's put it like that. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen just because it's so manufactured that it's cringy. I would rather them just be upfront and telling Sergio just let Max through. Me too. Multi 21, not 21, but multi 12. Multi 12, let's say, because multi 21 was second car in front end. First car in second. So yeah, that was our
review of everything.
So mainly our review of the upcoming F1 film that we actually know nothing about, apart from Lewis is a producer and Brad Pitt will be the oldest F1 driver in modern F1 history, let's say.
Yeah.
So yeah, Max and Sergio still ahead, and then Magic Fernando Alonso with 75 points. It's the most points he's had for like, it's crazy. The good season
since his Ferrari days.
Yeah, since his Ferrari days. So yeah, he's been having a very good season, and Aston has been having a very good season. Let's see next race. It's Imola, and there are some rumors that Mercedes is going to bring some updates, and it's the first real European race. So we'll probably have a couple of more teams having some upgrades. not for Imola, but I think most of them will
Bit
be
of
in
rain.
Imola. Bit of rain, possibly. It's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, next, not this next.
Yeah, not this weekend, the next one. So we're taping
Yeah,
this on a Thursday, so not
and I
this
think,
weekend, the other one. So it's
then I
the
think we've got three on the bounce, then, haven't we?
3 on the bounce. So it's
Four on the bounce. Because is it
no, it's
5 and 6
three
weekends?
3 weekends. So it's going to be Imola, then Monaco the week after that, and the week after that is going to be Barcelona. Then we have a couple of weeks of not racing. Yeah, 1 week of not racing.
Okay, I'll put mine down here. Fernando reckons if he's going to win a race this year, he's going to win Monaco.
Oh yeah, I heard he said that the only
That's it.
place where he could
Can hold them up.
would be Monaco. Yeah, Spain actually could not be that bad for them as well.
No, too long a straight. Too long a straight.
Hungary,
Yeah, he said Hungary was one of them.
the permanent Monaco. That might be one of them as well.
But then also you look at currently how well Sergio's driving on street circuits. You've got to put him in there at Monaco.
Yeah, Hungary might be his best option of getting the car. Like Max has a problem and he is able to get a good start and puts the car Q1.
But if he can put a car on the front row for Monaco, there's a very good chance.
Yeah,
because you know he'll throw it, especially if it's next to Max. He'll throw it down the first corner because Max will be scared about getting crashed into. He's already showing he's worried about being crashed into after the incident with George at Baku.
Yeah.
So he's now thinking about championships more than he is about just every corner.
Yeah.
So I think that will play heavily on Fernando's mind if he can get on the front row at Monaco.
And actually, Imola could be a good race for them as well. Although that main straight is...
Yeah, it's just they're going to walk away from them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Red Bull 1-2 until the end of the season. So thank you guys. See you in December.
Yeah. See you for the Christmas party.
See you for the Christmas party, for the bump draft and pray Christmas party. So yeah, let's wait for Imola and see what kind of upgrades teams bring, and we'll take it from there. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening and for watching on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Follow us on on social media. We are there at Bump Draft Pray. Email us at bdappodcast@gmail.com. I've been your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I had my good friend Earl Goddard. So,
all right.
See you guys.
See you next.
See you in Italy. Bye.
Ciao.
Bump Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Latin Punks Know.